Hello, beautiful friends. I am Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And I do this through one-on-one angel sessions, soul mentoring, and a variety of classes designed to inspire your spirit. And you can learn more about what I do at my website, illuminatingSouls.com. But for now, the angels and I are here to help you rest. So whether you are getting ready for sleep, maybe you're already snuggled up in bed, or maybe it's the daytime and you're using the podcast just to help you clear off some energy and be in the angelic energy field with me. However you're listening, it is truly a blessing to be here with you. You know, my experience as a podcast listener is that listening to a podcast is a very intimate experience because you're choosing right now to listen. This hasn't just shown up on your radio station and you haven't changed the dial. You've made a choice to be here right now. And I want to say thank you. I am so deeply honored and grateful to be able to share this time with you. And if you're enjoying the podcast, I would appreciate it so much if you would consider leaving a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. It helps the ripple of goodness and helps other people to know whether or not this is a podcast they might want to listen to. So thank you in advance for that. So as I record this, it's the daytime, and it's a beautiful day here. And yesterday I had the blessing of going to Muir Woods with one of my nieces. And if you never had a chance to go to Muir Woods, it is a redwood forest in Mill Valley, so here in the Bay Area. And it is majestic. It is a breathtaking place. And with all that is going on in the world, I really needed some time there. My experience of visiting forests or the ocean is that the energy field is so clear. It purifies us in a way. And I left Muir Woods feeling like something had been lifted. And then when I got home, I was so tired, but the best kind of fatigue. It was the kind of fatigue that said, you can rest now. So I slept for over 9 hours last night, and I'm still feeling that, just that sense of ease within me. So here's to more trips to Muir Woods, more trips to the beach. If you feel like you could use some power washing of your energy field, I highly recommend Mother Nature as a divine healer. So I invite you to take a deep breath in and let it out. And I send you some of this beautiful energy from the forest, from the coastal redwoods, some of which are 800 years old, from the generosity of the trees of the redwoods that reach up and touch the sky. And just receive the blessings we bring to you now. To know that in this moment there's nothing you need to figure out, nothing you need to fix. You can just give your burdens over to the angels and they will carry them in your name. That you have permission to just be. And I'm going to bring the angels in to be here with us, even though they are already here. So beautiful angels on high, I invite you to join us here now. And I ask you to infuse this broadcast with waves upon waves of divine love. I ask that you bring healing light to each of the beloveds gathered here now. We are so deeply grateful for this time together, grateful for the light that you are streaming in. Angels, I ask that you help to clear from us anything that is not ours. Anything that no longer serves our highest and best good. And angels, I ask that you infuse each one of us with sparks of inspiration, with beautiful opportunities that allow us to open to the beautiful portals of potential that are here for us. Help each one of us find our way in this world. Help us navigate into living a life that feels richly authentic and on purpose. So, dear ones, just take another deep breath in and allow yourself to be lifted up into the brighter energies. You can even imagine floating, if you want, up among the stars with your angels, feeling the expansiveness of your life force, the sweetness of your spirit. Just allowing waves of relaxation to pour over you. You are a blessing here in this world. And there is much goodness here for you. And just breathe and rest. And while you rest, I'm going to read to you. And for this episode, I thought we could wander through the pages of Sunset magazine. I don't think this is the same publication as Sunset magazine of the present time, but this is called Sunset, and it was published by the Passenger Department of Southern Pacific Company, edited by E.H. Woodman, and this was published November 1899 to April 1900. We start off with some advertisements. They're talking about the different railway lines that are available, and also some hotels. There's an ad for the Grand Central Hotel in Fresno, California. The leading hotel in Central California owns its own farm from which table is supplied daily. Large sample rooms for commercial travelers, free omnibus for patrons, all modern conveniences, both an American and a European plan. And then there's an ad here for the Southern Pacific Company, which I think we would probably know as the Southern Pacific Railroad. It says many excursions. They operate numerous weekly, personally conducted excursions between such principal eastern cities as Boston, Washington, Albany, Buffalo, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Atlanta, New Orleans, Chicago, Memphis, St. Louis, St. Paul, Minneapolis, Omaha, Kansas City, and California. There's an interesting article here called For the Woman Traveler by Frona Eunice Waite. I thought this might be interesting to read to you, also perhaps a little bit boring, so you can go to sleep. So this is what it might have been like to travel on the Southern Pacific Railroad back in 1900. So how best to cross the continent or to go abroad with ease and comfort is known to but a few women, and these are old and accomplished travelers who have learned by the hard knocks of experience. The first step in gaining this desirable information is to make a careful inventory of absolute necessities and rigidly discard everything else. It is astonishing how little a woman really does require on a journey when once she has learned how to manage. And I'm just going to edit in here that I think about the people on social media, yes, who travel for 8 months with one backpack. And just so you know, I'm one of those really annoying people who travels for a weekend with a giant suitcase. So I just share that with you in case you were wondering where I fit on the bell curve of packing for a trip. We'll return to our article, though. Care of the person is of prime importance, and the woman who is accustomed to a bath every morning may indulge herself in the ordinary provisions made in a first-class sleeping car toilet room. If she is wise, she will carry one of the steel-topped hand satchels made especially for women, and in this she will have a bottle of Florida or other toilet water, and a celluloid soap box and cake of good soap. The cold cream, face and tooth powder boxes will have screw tops, and she will wad a piece of tissue paper into the powder box before she puts it in the chamois and screws down the lid. This keeps the powder from scattering and the chamois from being overfull when she is ready to use it. In separate silk bags, she will have a pongee silk, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, it's Pongee, a pongee silk nightdress, and a black India silk Mother Hubbard overslip to wear when going back and forth from the berth to the dressing room. Once ready to retire, the overslip is easily removed and put into the hammock inside the berth, ready for use in the morning. A linen or ooze, it says OOZE, so a linen or ooze leather wallet with separate places for the nail file and scissors. The toothbrush and comb are easily made and can be rolled up and tied with a string. I always carry a Turkish towel wash rag, hemmed, and having a ring sewed in one corner, by which I hang it to the lamp over the washstand when I have taken a sponge bath at night after the other women have retired. In the morning it is dry, and if I use it again, I have an extra soap box which I put it into and have no further trouble with it, even if I must leave the train at an early morning hour, Extra handkerchiefs and neck ribbons and veils I put into a small pasteboard box, which fits into the bottom of the satchel, where there is also an extra pair of gloves. Under the box is a neatly folded paper bag into which I put my hat, and after pinning the opening together, give it to the porter for safekeeping. In separate squares of India silk I wrap a pair of soft felt shoes, which I exchange for the heavy walking boots while in the train. The boots are wrapped in the silk squares and put into the satchel until I need it again, while the felt shoes are stuck into the rack at the foot of the bed on retiring. I also substitute a common-sense waist for my corsets, and remove the jacket of my tailor gown, under which is a well-fitting but comfortable taffeta shirtwaist. I find the long pins used by florists the best thing to use at the waistline, in the back where the skirt and bodice seem bent upon parting company. And I always use an elastic belt. It not only fits the waist snugly, but will hold the watch secure. A needle, pin, and hairpin case is necessary, but these can be combined and need not occupy much space. Safety pins, especially little black ones, are often very useful on a journey where a mischievous button suddenly departs its post or a seam fails under trial. Traveling through the Middle States and through the South is hard on the hands and face because the water is sometimes strongly alkaline, and it is difficult to keep clean without chapping the skin. An extra bottle of any face cream containing quince seeds will be found much better than any oil substance, and lemon juice should be substituted for soap in cleansing the face and hands. A thin, flat writing pad and a fountain pen slipped into the pocket on the side of the satchel completes the necessary equipment, which is neither bulky nor heavy to carry. As to clothing, no sensible woman travels in white cotton underwear. She will use some neutral tinted knitted undervest and drawers or a union suit, and over this will pull the longest opera hose she can find, the black merino weave being the best for such a purpose. Either cheesecloth body napkins or a knee petticoat and taffeta silk underskirt are worn with the silk-lined tailor gown. There should be pockets on the front breadth of the outside skirt, a device easily put on with the seams and finished with the flap and buttons or braid, and the jacket should also be supplied with pockets on the hips. A package of Pepsin chewing gum and a roll of quill toothpicks should be a part of the things carried in the pockets, and a penknife and some simple remedy for indigestion in good tablet form will not come amiss. A good quality of gloves, a veil with a handmade mesh, and a tiny band of white corduroy peeping above the bright-colored neck ribbon gives a woman traveler a wonderfully tidy and fresh appearance. By all means, wear a becoming hat. Many an otherwise stylish traveling costume is ruined in appearance by a shocking bad hat. If it is put into a paper bag and cared for reasonably, a hat does not lose its freshness on an overland journey. If the trip is to be made from San Francisco to New York, it is better to carry only such dresses as are needed for immediate wear. A becoming and modish combination of black and white is a safe venture, and is always a utility gown, even in an elaborate wardrobe. There are but 3 cities in the world where style may be said to originate. These are New York, Paris, and Vienna. The women of these cities set the fashion of the world, and a traveler can accommodate herself to the situation. If she intends going abroad, it is folly to make expensive purchases in New York. Not only will she be obliged to pay extra baggage and duty on the frontier of each country, but she will be obliged to claim her baggage on the platform, as there are no systems of transfer and no checks. But the contents of her trunks are spread out on the tables in custom houses in a manner calculated to ruin fine fabrics. Linens, furs, and broadcloth are best purchased in London, but never attempt to wear a shoe made in any other country but our own. Not only is the style, fit, and finish better, but the price is cheaper and the quality much finer. The Paris-made gown has possibly more chic and style, but the sewing is poorly done, so that a thimble and needle are needed very often. The same may be said of lingerie of every description. New York is par excellence for the best place to buy underwear of its kinds, and the same remarks made of shoes applies to this line of goods. A steamer trunk, a gentleman's dress suitcase, and such handbag as already described is quite baggage enough to start to Europe with. Coming home is another matter. The woman traveler who journeys alone will find it advantageous to go to the best hotels. There she receives every possible attention and is so protected that no one but herself is to blame if she is not free from annoyance of all kinds. Prices in the big hotels are astonishingly cheap considering location, class of accommodations, and service. So with little trouble and annoyance may the woman traveler journey alone, self-dependent, and receive the best attention of hotel and railway employees from one end of the land to the other. And there's a little glimpse into what travel might have been like if we were to go back 120 years or so. I think I would have been perpetually crabby with all of those different layers and a corset. I just can't imagine I would have been a nice person. Anyways, let me continue. There's an ad here for the Portland Hotel in Portland, Oregon. It cost $1 million. Headquarters for tourists and commercial travelers. The American plan is $3 per day and upwards. There's also the Hotel El Paso de Robles in San Luis Obispo County, and they have mud and sulfur baths and mineral waters. Sounds lovely. Oh, and here's an ad for the Hotel del Coronado, which is on Coronado Beach, California, in the San Diego area. And it is beautiful. I've had the blessing of staying there, I think twice, for sure once. So this ad says 700 elegant rooms, 20 acres of grounds. It is a synonym for home during the winter months to great numbers of the best American families. To pleasure-loving travelers, it also stands for all that is most enjoyable. It is renowned for the social standing of its patrons, for its dimensions and magnificence, for its superb cuisine and the amusement of its guests both indoor and out. Billiards, private theater and ballroom, orchestra, fishing pier, golf links, game preserves, botanical gardens, boathouses, bathhouses, racecourse and ostrich farm, etc. may be enumerated. After these is the equitable climate, the proximity to the ocean and bay, the grand landscapes, and the opportunities for riding, coaching, or bicycling on the splendid roads of the peninsula on which the resort is located, or to the neighboring mainland points of interest, including the old San Diego Mission, Sweetwater Dam, the Mexican Boundary Monument at Tijuana, Old Town, La Jolla, Point Loma Drive, El Cajon Valley, etc. A visit to Coronado is as much an essential part of your California tour as one to the orange orchards or chief cities of the state. Yeah, I love Hotel Coronado. And this will be interesting. This is an article about Santa Monica. Again, this would be from 1900. And the headline says, Sanitary Santa Monica. From the first settlement of Santa Monica, its climate has been recognized as possessing curative properties of market value. Even before the town was laid out, this strip of coast was sought by the Spanish inhabitants for the cure of malaria and the relief of the sequel of malignant types of this disease. An English-titled gentleman is on record as having found his first relief from nervous and kidney troubles at the old adobe house near the Santa Monica Canyon, then the only habitation on the mesa near the sea. These and subsequently enlarged experiences of the salubrity, I don't know that I've ever said that word out loud before, if I'm pronouncing it right, salubrity of Santa Monica, have been neglected or overshadowed by its great popularity as a pleasure resort. This excursion and pleasure business affects only the blocks and beach at and near the North Beach Bathhouse and the Arcadia Hotel. This business offers diversion and amusement to health seekers, which they can take or leave as their taste or needs decide. Let us examine 3 questions on the sanitary value of Santa Monica. First, what is the climate? And what are the conditions that have produced the wonderful cures and recoveries that we all know of in Santa Monica? Second, what conditions of ill health are not favorably affected in Santa Monica? Third, what conditions of ill health are favorably affected in Santa Monica? There are 5 clearly defined climates within the town limits of Santa Monica. Neither the general body of visitors know this, nor do the physicians who send patients here for convalescence or for help and recovery in disease know it. Our Santa Monica people and physicians know that there are very marked climate differences within the town. There are, however, conditions which apply to all of these merging climatic belts, which determine the general character of the climate. Santa Monica is on the Pacific Ocean. It is on that part of the coast of California between Point Conception and Coronado. It is in Southern California, which fact alone guarantees its possession of a charming winter climate. In this district, winter is a misnomer. The season is really spring. It is the time of showers, sunshine, and growth. The range of winter temperatures is practically identical with that of San Diego and Santa Barbara. Apples grow by the side of bananas. The coconut palm flourishes beside the northern pine. Tomato vines grow over housetops. There is no doubt of even and mild winter climate. The vegetation is a guarantor of the truth of the temperature record. All the advantages as a winter resort, so well known to be possessed by Southern California resorts in general, are possessed by Santa Monica. We can say here and now that physicians in the East have never realized the remarkable range of this mild and healing Southern California climate. Every nook and corner of it has its own individuality, just as its flora has a curious local limitations. From the fragrant spruce and pine of the Sierra Madre, over mesa plain and seacoast to the combing surf of the Pacific, every place has an advantage and a special suitability both for tree and man all its own. It is during this winter season that the climate belts of Santa Monica while still well defined, are less striking than in summer. In our winter spring, the whole country is green. The roads are smooth and clean so that riding, driving, golf, tennis, etc. are a delight. It is at this season also that the drives, picnics, etc. into the beautiful canyons of the nearby Santa Monica Mountains are most pleasing. In these mountains there is another series of climates, a different flora, hot and mineral springs and fish and game. In winter, as in summer, the smallest variation of temperature is on the beach sands. But in winter, the humidity of the air throughout the town varies but little. The air in winter is comparatively dry. The showers do not seem to affect the humidity, or no more than do showers in the desert. At this time, the trade breezes ceases, and in general, Santa Monica and the other climatic resorts of Southern California are most nearly alike. It is still differentiated from the interior climates by a minimum of temperature variation between night and day, due doubtless to the influence of the Pacific Ocean. In winter, Santa Monica is a part of the celebrated climate common to all of Southern California. It is a climate with that rare and valuable combination of mildness and tonic so favorable. It is never too cold and is never too hot for safe outdoor exercise. It permits and encourages a constant outdoor curative life. The warm days of the interior are always accompanied by phenomenal dryness of the air, which modifies and reduces, if it does not entirely remove, the indisposition to exercise general to tropical climates. It is in summer that the climate of Santa Monica assumes its striking individuality and most accentuates the climatic differences within itself. The entire coast of Southern California enjoys an ideal all-year-round climate. This climatic belt, with its differences, variances, and width, having its maximum extent at and including the great city of Los Angeles. Santa Monica faces directly to the west on the Pacific, with the fertile central southern valleys open behind it. To the north extend the Santa Monica Mountains, shutting it off from the deserts of the Mojave. The air in the interior is heated by the summer sun and rises. This draws in the trade breeze to fill in place from the cooler ocean. At night, the interior air cools almost rapidly, and an almost imperceptible opposite air current is the result. It is from this reason that the summer night air in Santa Monica is found to be drier than the day air. All summer long and for 8 or 9 months, this trade breeze blows off the ocean every day. The only exception is in the spring, as the conditions establishing it to occur, or in the late fall as it ceases. No other Southern California coast resort has this influence to the same extent. It is undoubtedly due to this breeze that the superlative combination exists in Santa Monica of a climate at once mild, soothing, and restful, and also tonic and sharply stimulant. It is, in fact, a phenomenal and ideal climate for residents of any part of the world. And I'll have to say that this article keeps going. There's like 4 more pages. I don't know how many ways there is to describe how wonderful the weather is in Santa Monica. That's why everybody wants to live there. But I don't think even in a boring sleep podcast you want to hear 4 more pages of the description of how awesome it is in Santa Monica. So I'm going to look for another article to read to you. But I will say I love Santa Monica. It's beautiful there. And I'm going to skip to the middle of an article about the San Joaquin Valley. They're in Fresno right now. So we must not leave Fresno without inspecting the vineyards. And I have to say, living near Napa, I love vineyards. They are so beautiful. And I get so excited to see grapes growing. I'm from the Midwest, and we never really had vineyards back there, and so grapes are one of my favorite fruit, especially the wide variety of grapes that are available near vineyards. So we'll read this part of the article. We must not leave Fresno without inspecting the vineyards. The San Joaquin Valley is the natural home of the raisin grape, and thousands of acres are perfectly adapted to its culture. Naturally, the business has grown to great proportions. The Muscat of Alexandria, the Muscatel de Gordon Blanco, and the Thompson and Sultana seedless are the varieties chiefly grown. For seedless varieties, pickings begin in the month of August, and for Muscat grapes in September. In picking, the grapes are laid with care in shallow trays placed on the ground between the rows of vines, and are cured by exposure to the sun. After a period of about 7 to 12 days, the grapes, which are white when picked, become colored and partly cured and must be turned. A few days more exposure to the sun cures them sufficiently to be piled in stacks on the trays in the vineyard, where they remain until put in what are known as suret boxes and are made ready for the packing house. There is no mystery about growing or curing raisins. The newcomer, by close inquiry and observation, may succeed as well as the one of long experience. The same may be said in respect to fruit trees. The lateral line of the Southern Pacific, running from Fresno to Porterville, passes through an extremely interesting section of the San Joaquin Valley and taps what is now considered the best orange land belt to be found, the frostless belt of the foothills. We are on the edge of this fertile belt when we come to Sanger, a lively new town engaged chiefly in manufacturing lumber into finished products, and we will find this excellent orchard and citrus fruit soil extending far along the Kings River bottom and along the foothills. At Porterville, orange culture reached its perfection of yield and profit, and for about 45 miles from Porterville to Lemon Cove extends this ideal citrus fruit belt, in all comprising about 25,000 acres, of which 45,000 acres are now in groves. The oranges grow to large size and perfection and have the advantage of ripening about 5 weeks earlier than those grown farther south in the state. This, of course, gives the grower a strong command of market and prices. Land can be had in the citrus belt at from $75 to $150 an acre with water rights attached. Some of the irrigation is by ditch systems, much of it by the pumping system. The pumping system simply means that the company which sells the water erects a pump operated by electric power with which it raises enough water to irrigate a tract. The orange trees come into bearing in the 3rd year and bear a paying crop in the 4th year, the trees doing better and better as they grow older. The profits are very large. The net profits of 6 acres of very fine trees near Porterville last season were $2,515. That of 10 acres nearby was $3,100. These are extreme profits, but $150 net profit per acre is rather below than above the average for a mature grove in this section. Of course, the citrus belt of the San Joaquin Valley is not confined to the 40-odd miles here under irrigation. It skirts the foothills of the Sierras, nearly the whole length of the valley, and the time will come when this will be one of the principal citrus-growing belts of the world. From the town of Sanger, a delightful trip can be made by stage and on horseback to the Grant National Park, Kings River Canyons, and the High Sierras. The May and November numbers of this magazine describe vividly this beautiful region, which bids fair to rival the Yosemite itself in attractiveness. The charge for stage and horseback accommodations is but $15 for the round trip from Sanger to Kings River Canyon. In the Grant National Park are some of the largest trees known, one of them being 105 feet in girth. The scenery of the Kings River Canyon and of the neighboring mountains is marvelously picturesque. The fishing and hunting cannot be excelled, and it is safe to say that the time is near when thousands of sightseers and sportsmen will yearly visit this pleasure ground. From Fresno, we go to Bakersfield at the southern extremity of the Great Valley, on the delta of the Kern River, which, having its source amid the everlasting snows of Mount Whitney, rushes down through deep gorges and over steep precipices, finally to debouch into the valley through a tremendous canyon about 12 miles northeast of where we are. The Kern Delta is the arena of a colossal amphitheater formed by the curves of the Sierra and Coast ranges which here meet. To the east, rolling foothills slope to the feet of abrupt mountains densely clothed with spruce, pine, cedar, and oak, through which gleam here and there the bright waters of some tumbling mountain stream. To the north stretches away an illimitable expanse of plain. All about us is the level land not many years ago a wild covered with growths of greasewood and sagebrush, now presenting the evidences of culture and civilization. The varied fertility of the soil of the San Joaquin Valley was strikingly illustrated at a banquet given to the members of the American Pomological Society not long since in the city of Bakersfield. I don't know what pomological is. Okay, but we're going to keep going. They list the menu, which I think most of you will not find appealing, so I'm going to skip that. Hold on, just a second. We're going to maybe skip around in this article a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to skip a bit ahead because there's a part where they talk about seeing the sequoias, they're just remarkable. So here I'm going to start a little ways into this article. Plantations of the god Emerson has finally called the groves of the sequoias, and this is the noblest of them all. This mighty forest is 6,000 acres and contains more than 3,000 of these majestic trees. They range from 50 to 100 feet in girth. They tower to heights of 300 to 400 feet. Mingled with the overtopping sequoias are huge firs, cedars, and pines. Or with antiquity these giants stand. Into this soil they struck their roots when all we think of as ancient was young, before Rome was, before Greece was. They lifted up their lips to the kisses of the sun. They were venerable with age when the lawgiver led his people out of Egypt. The storms of thrice 1,000 years had beat upon the stubborn heads when the Christ was born in Bethlehem of Judea. Empires and kingdoms, great captains with their guns and drums, the wise, the good, the glorious have come and played their part and passed to dust and dumb forgetfulness, the while these giants of the forest have sucked the sap from Mother Earth and flourished in immortal youth. That's just brilliant writing. Sorry, I just kind of got carried away there. Okay, so while these giants of the forest have sucked the sap from Mother Earth and flourished in immortal youth, surely that is an ignoble soul which is not bowed down with the reverent awe in the presence of these deathless kings. Okay, we'll keep going. 4 hours' ride from the giant forest are the lovely Alta Meadows, nearly 10,000 feet above the sea level, brook-bordered meads, deep in grass, brilliant with wild flowers. And here, while the unsaddled beasts crop the tender herbage, and Master Cook bestirs himself in the camp, pitched under yonder tamarac's pleasant shade, we will go out upon this projecting rock and look upon such a spectacle. I'm really getting lost in this writing. Okay, so they're out on the range with their horses and a cook. But so the horses are the unsettled beasts, lest you think you missed something important. So the unsettled beasts crop the tender herbage, which means they were eating the grass. And Master Cook bestirs himself in the camp, pitched under yonder tamarac's pleasant shade. We will go out upon this projecting rock and look upon such a spectacle as is not matched elsewhere in all the beautiful world. Panoramic Point, they named it well who first stood here enraptured and gazed upon the wondrous scene. There, bathed in the splendor of the falling sun, are the mighty Kauai's peaks. You know what? I came upon this name once before, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I believe it's part of Yosemite. It's Kaweah, so please excuse me for not knowing how to pronounce that. But it's towering 14,000 feet in the air. And they go through the different ranges that they are seeing. Huge domes that seem from where we gaze perched on the edge of the great world's roof like giant footstools flung down on the big floor of the universe. Is this not brilliant writing? I love this. See upon the canyon's steep sides how the green and white of snowfield and meadow gleam in the sunlight. And look how over those sheer cliffs leap 100 glittering falls. Far up their slopes hill and mountain are cloaked in fern and flower and forest. Innumerable columns, pillars, and domes and spires of granite greet at each turn the gaze, and over all the dying sun rolls his full tide of splendor. Brilliant, this is brilliant. So at Panoramic Point many will stop, no farther seek delight, but for those who love to seek nature in her stern fastness, there remain yet the journey to the canyon of the Kern River and the ascent of Mount Whitney and the return by way of Golden Trout Creek, a lovely mountain stream alive with the rare golden-hued fish from which it takes its name. Wow. That was brilliant writing, but I can really appreciate the need to write with such exuberance if what they're trying to describe is the sequoias and Yosemite to someone who hasn't seen them, right? This is before photographs were readily accessible, right? Before there was color photographs even. So I love the exuberance of their writing. I don't know, this also seems kind of cool because I was just at Muir Woods. So I just said, it was beautiful, versus there was a thunderous majesty as they kissed the sky. I'll have to learn how to be a little more exuberant in my descriptions for you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. There's lots more to read from, but I think this is a good stopping point. So, my beautiful friends, here's to the beauty of this world. I know right now, as far as all the news of the day, it is really crazy on planet Earth. But also on planet Earth, there are oceans and forests and mountains and summer gardens. We have a bounty of tomatoes that are ripening. You know, there's a lot of beauty in this world too, so make sure you take in the beauty and allow yourself to be astonished by the beauty of this world too. So I wish you sweet dreams. I am grateful for you. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.